Nadia, you have been such an inspiration to me personally. Thank you for everything you do. And Don, for many, many years, you've been a total inspiration for me and so many others, activating people to stand up against genocide. Please give them both a huge round of applause. We were going to show a brief video of Nadia, but I'd like to send that to all of you after, so we can get right into a conversation with both of you about what you do. Since Nadia, you just spoke so beautifully about what you've come through and what you've accomplished and who you are, being recognized with the Nobel Peace Prize, with the Time Woman of the Year. In that video, President Biden and the Pope and so many other luminaries are recognizing you. I wanted to ask you, how did you do that? I'm really interested in moral courage. Can you share with us how you decided to speak out?
Look, before it happened to me, I didn't know anything about what I'm doing right now. I didn't know that people, and women especially, could speak truth to power. I grew up in a country where it is really dangerous to be a woman. I grew up with stories of honor killings, women who, when they seek divorce, they were punished, and so many other stories. So for me, the moment I crossed the border from ISIS captivity to Kurdistan region, I felt that my survival carried with it a responsibility to share with the world what I saw in captivity. I left so many loved ones behind. In less than 10 hours, 6 of my brothers were killed. My mother was killed. My niece is younger than me. My sisters-in-law that were pregnant were all in captivity. And I had to share their stories, but I was also well aware that it was dangerous in a country like Iraq and in a community like mine to talk about rape publicly. And especially that I was displaced, surrounded by thousands of people, strangers. But I remember Scott Pelley coming to the camps and looking for a survivor.
Scott Pelley of 60 Minutes.
Of 60 Minutes. And I didn't know about the 60 Minutes, but when they introduced themselves, that they were Americans, and the story, people could help from America. And I remember asking my brother if I could share my story, but we decided with Scott that I would cover my face because it was so dangerous for me. I was, in a camp and with so many people, but I also had so many loved ones in captivity. And it was dangerous for my family in captivity because a lot of our neighbors joined ISIS and they knew my family. It was obvious, and we were worried that they were going to hurt my family members, even though they were buying and selling them in captivity. But I did cover my face in that interview, and I remember leaving the hotel where I gave the interview. I just realized that story needed the face that ISIS saw, that people from Mosul, our neighbors, saw it, and it was dangerous. But I shared my story because I wanted to help others.
Wow. And then after you decided that you didn't need to cover
then
your
it
face.
came with but then it came with a lot of shame and stigma. I remember walking like everyone else in the camps to just get food, get in the line, and people were just pointing their fingers at me as if I was the one to blame. But I know I didn't do anything wrong. I was taken from my home while the world was watching. My home was destroyed. I was taken into captivity, and then suddenly I was blamed. And it's not unique to Iraq. I have learned through my work and my advocacy with survivors of rape that we often blame survivors of rape, but we need to change that. And that is why when I hear that the German government, the state of one state was taking 1,000 survivors to Germany, my sister and I, we decided to leave the country and leave that shame and stigma and the country that didn't protect us, that took so much from us behind. And I remember landing in Stuttgart, Germany, and I felt that, okay, this is a new life. I could disappear. I could just go to school, and I was only 22, and I could never look back at Iraq or the people who tried to destroy my family and my life. But I couldn't just choose myself. I couldn't just rebuild my life knowing so many people who were still being raped and beaten and bought and sold. And I decided to start right less than 10 weeks after I arrived to Germany. I gave my testimony at the United Nations.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. Now, Nadia, your and the Yazidi experience is literally ground zero for the worst that humanity can do, the greatest horrors. It's also ground zero for the reason we all do the work that we do. Don, you have written a lot of books, among other things. One of them is The Enough Moment. Can you tell us what the enough moment is and what was your enough moment?
Well, The Enough Moment was a book that I co-wrote with John Prendergast,
My buddy.
for your friend, someone that I went to Sudan with the character that I play in Hotel Rwanda, Paul Rusesabagina, to see with our own eyes what was happening there. John and I have traveled to Uganda together and Chad and Darfur, but The Enough Moment is really a book about when people decide who don't necessarily have the same experience that Nadia had, but in a similar way decided to now use their voice. And when they are confronted with something that they cannot ignore, the wonderful quote that Mr. Ball had about,
The burden of freedom.
burden of freedom is when others don't have it. And when you are confronted with that and you have the ability to say something and do something, it's trying to instruct people to take stock in their own lives and figure out where they, I always quote the school of Too Short, the rapper Too Short, who says, get in where you fit in, where are you, where's your inflection point in your life as a student, as a teacher, as a community leader, as someone in church, at work, where can you impact these things that impact you emotionally, and how do you organize with other like-minded people, and in whatever the issue is that you want to speak about, education for refugees, safe havens for refugees, however you want to be a part of the solution, sort of just basic steps on how to do that.
Wow, wow.
And my moment came after I did Hotel Rwanda. We had a screening at MGM, and a Republican and Democratic senator, congresspeople, unbelievable, came together and invited me on a congressional delegation to meet with the African Union and go to Chad and go to Sudan and see for myself what was happening. And that's when I really understood the power of advocacy and my unique position as an actor who had this platform, how to use it to take the light that's shown on us and go, now look at the people who are really doing it, which is organizations like yours and like I said, NGOs and people who've been in the field that way predated my involvement. So I just got swept up into sort of the stream that was already happening, and then realized, like I said, what my platform was and my ability to try to raise awareness and shine a light on things that needed light shown on it.
Good man, Don. Good man. Wow. And I was surprised that you two just met tonight for the first time.
Yes.
So what was that like?
Well, we had a really
Tell me briefly.
interesting conversation in the green room and just sharing stories. And I, being a Nobel Peace Prize winner, in 2007, I received an award from the Nobel laureates the Man of Peace Award with George Clooney. I don't know if you've heard of him. And one of the Nobel laureates, I was feeling very humbled from the moment, and, Lech Walesa and Mikhail Gorbachev and the Dalai Lama, and I was like, all these luminaries. And after the awards ceremony, Betty Williams, who had also Nobel laureate, said, "This isn't a gift." She said, "This is a yoke. This is a responsibility for the rest of your life. You've been awarded, the opportunity to be a part of this forever. And don't rest on your laurels." So we've seen, and we were just, talking about how difficult it is at a time like this to continue to raise awareness, and so many things in this 24-hour news cycle are crowding in for attention. And places like Sudan, which, we had a small victory in, and now it's slipped even past where it was before, millions of people displaced, and a famine that's kind of out of control. It's how do we continue in this environment and in this climate to try to raise awareness and try to make our voices be heard. So thank you for bringing us to the stage tonight.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was amazing. And Amal Tony is my lawyer, so I have to pay them.
You're suing ISIS. You and Amal Clooney, you're suing ISIS and bringing them to accountability.
So something I do to give them something back, I watch all of George's stuff, like all movies and stuff. So I watched Out of Sight, and I knew Dan from that movie. And but we did talk about Sudan because we don't talk about it enough. I co-founded an organization called the Global Survivors Fund with Dr. Dennis Mukwege. And we work with
the Global Survivors Fund.
Yeah, we work with women in Sudan, survivors of rape right now, who are being raped and eaten. And one thing we hear from survivors, many stories, but one of them is that this time the groups are specifically targeting women of reproductive age in Sudan to make sure that they don't just rape them, but they impregnate them and leave them with a permanent mark, leave them with something that they carry their legacy. And we don't hear about that a lot. It is important to really talk about all these, crises and people and try to help them, because all lives are just equally important. Yeah.
I'm so glad you two both met, because I feel like the whole world needs to be behind you, Nadia, in doing what you can. And if, Don, you can lend your voice, and I'll lend my voice to doing everything that you need to do in the world, Nadia.
Thank you.
So Nadia and I were introduced by a mutual friend, Jim Brown, who's a professor at Chapman University. And he said to me, Nadia, Nadia is she is personally a really fun-loving and funny person, but she can't be that way publicly because she's kind of the face of genocide. Tell us something fun-loving, or tell us something about yourself that...
So tell us some jokes, Nadia.
It struck me when Jim said that.
Yeah, look, my husband is forced to watch Seinfeld with me every night. So I have watched...
Stand up,
yeah.
stand up,
He's right here.
stand up.
Nadia's husband is Abi. He's right here.
Stand up.
A total inspiration.
But that is so true. When the world gets to know you through a story of rape and abuse and genocide, sometimes you are defined by that story. But I do my work, and I'm so proud that I did not give up and use my voice and my story to help others and change lives. But at the same time, I'm just a human being. I'm a wife, I'm an aunt, I'm a sister. Ever since I moved to Germany, I try to run every day. I have done marathons. I don't share it with people, but I also went to college and graduated with a degree in sociology. Yeah, as I as I mentioned in my speech, I grew up loving the idea of opening a beauty salon for the women in my village. I always thought that I will be famous in my village, just in my village, to open a beauty salon. So that is something that I also do for my nieces and my friends. And so.
Okay, I'll do it. So a priest and a mom and a rabbi walk into a... No, I don't have a joke. I don't have a joke.
Don, my phone blew up when we heard you were coming here. So many people were saying you're their favorite actor. Tell us, like, one thing briefly that we don't know about you.
Oh my gosh. I don't have anything front loaded. I can't be funny. I would just say that I'm just very honored to be here and very humbled to be here, and seeing the auction go as well as it did, and knowing that people are walking the talk and putting their money where their mouth is, and you guys are showing up for each other, and the energy is so important. And we really have a headwind that we know. We always have had a headwind. When hasn't there been a headwind for this kind of work? But you guys are resilient and staying the course, and I just applaud you guys. Really.
Thank you. Don, you just stole my last question, which then I'll turn to Nadia to ask. But for both of you, there are so many people here who are on the front lines, leading or working with organizations that are protecting people in the most horrific situations. You are funding this work, you're dedicated to this work, you're doing this work, your courage is extraordinary. Do you have any words for the people here doing that?
Well, thank you so much. You are changing lives. It's not really, these are not just numbers, and we hear about refugees, displaced people, more than 100 million people. It's not numbers. These are human beings with hopes and dreams, and they deserve a chance. They deserve the support our support. And it is important that you, and especially in these challenging times, support organizations like RefugePoint and others, because...
And Nadia's initiative.
Yeah, but there are so many people that, I mean, I get to travel all the time and meet people, and we have to work together. We have to look at these problems and crises as, so close to us. They're never too far. And sometimes we just think that Sudan, what is happening, it's internal. It does affect, people here and lives. And I really, I'm grateful for your support to any organizations. I think it's important. A lot of these organizations are right now going through so much, and so it's a difficult time, but we have people like you who are still here, by the way, listening and have work tomorrow. So that, for me, is hope.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking Nadia and Don and being here together to stand up for those who need us. Don, thank you.
Thank you.
Nadia, thank you.
Thank you. They take a picture.